What's up, race fam? Brian Davis Races, checking in this week. This week we have an awesome crit race. I actually did pretty well. More importantly, we had team tactics that were on point, so we'll talk about that. Last week we gave away a bird feeder. I'll have that information out to the winner, and also a pair of Ori grips. And big news here, we are hitting 1,000 subs. We actually hit it and then we lost 2 people. I guess they didn't like what I was saying. So now we're at this particular moment in time, we're at 999. So if you're seeing this video and I'm somewhere around 1,000, you should subscribe. So it was a fun race. This is our race. My cycling team is called Diablo Cycling, and this is the race that we put on. It's in a beautiful location. It was a gorgeous day. Sadly, it was on Mother's Day, so we didn't get the attendance that we were hoping for, but we had still some great racing. So our team in this race, we roll out with one of our strongest guys, maybe I'm sure the strongest guy on our team, and our plan was to send him off the front and just see what happened. And that's really as much discussion as we had. So he did that. He went right off the front and he shedded a few people that were with him really early, and then unfortunately he got a flat tire. So bummer. But then our other teammate, who's also extraordinarily strong, shot off like a bullet and took a flyer and formed another lead out. This time he had 4 people with him, which was the right mix of teammates. So it all worked out really well. So for the rest of us, we could have just sat back in the field literally for the next hour and relaxed. But I think we just wanted to have some fun. So we attacked a couple times another teammate of mine in the field for really no reason. But it was good practice for me because going into this race, I wanted to do something. I didn't care what it was, but I wanted to do something. Now, I kind of mentally forgot about my role as a teammate there, but it ended up working out great. So in the end, I did what I thought was a decent lead out in the footage. It's not as good of a lead out as I thought it was in real life, but so be it. And I covered a lot of moves in the beginning when we were setting up our breakaway. So I'm happy with how the day turned out, and let's just talk real quick about being happy. So in the last video I did, or 2 videos ago rather, it was about mental toughness and finding a way to find wins in your races, even if you're not on the podium. And I have to say I've been really focusing on that, and the results are fantastic. So it's done a couple things. I have sort of recalibrated what I'm looking for out of cycling. I found myself getting out a lot more for training rides and having much more fun doing it. So I also want to give a shout out to a local racer in our area, Carlos. He shot me a few messages after that video and kind of slapped me around a little bit to get my head screwed on straight. And he did it in such a great way. He's such a wonderful person and has a great way of relating to people and helping build them up. So I truly appreciate Carlos's words, and the big thing he said was just suck it up and make the time. So lately I've been waking up at 5 a.m. I've been getting out on training rides. That's actually how I'm editing this video right now. I'm up at 5 a.m. So it's been fantastic. It hasn't been as painful as I thought, and Carlos's advice was just suck it up for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of suck, and then after that it's really not that big of a deal. And I am right at the end of 2 weeks, and I have to say, he's totally right. It's just not a big deal. Today I woke up at 5:30. I slept in a little bit because it's a rest day, and but it was no problem getting up so I can edit the video. So anyway, I appreciate it. Let's check out the video. All right, race fam, let's go race them. We are in Menasha, Wisconsin. Gorgeous day to race a bike. Absolutely fantastic. So this is on the corner of a park. There's a beautiful river there. It's a calm, cool day. There's a little bit of a breeze, but not enough to make a huge difference in the race. So we are off to the races here, as they say. My teammate in front of me, that's the kit that our team wears, Diablo Cycling, with the stripes on the leg band. And then venerable racer Mike Budd, fat bike national champion, age group national champion, ahead of us. So Mike's just going to continue to roll out a lap or 2. Now we're going to get our first attack. We've got a Velocause rider, we've got our rider, we've got Robert Berry, a strongman in the group, and I think not much happens on that attack if I remember correctly. So just testing the legs. Oh no, I take that back. I think that is going to be a move that's interesting. So there's those 3 riders off the front, a Velocaz, a Diablo rider, and Robert Berry. And the Velocaz rider is just going to push the pace enough to create a crack. And I'm trying to figure out who's on the front of the field there, if that's Mike Budd or not. In any event, that move gets up the road, and it includes one of our fellas, one of our strongest fellas, which was great because this was our plan today. Speaking of team tactics, was to get our man off the front. I guess I take that back. Oh no, that move is up the front. It is off the front. So that's how that worked, that first move. And that establishes our rider, a Velocaz rider, which are the 2 big teams there. You can see I slow it down. You can see those 3 riders off the front, a Velocaz rider, Robert Berry, who's, for whatever reason, team escapes me at the moment, and Belgian Works it is, and a Velocaz rider. So that's the right mix. Robert Berry's just a strong all-around rider. I think he was in this race by himself, though, but mostly it included a Diablo rider, and it included a Velocaz rider. So those are the 2 major teams represented. There's a few Wheel and Sprocket riders that did not make the cut for that first move. So that is going to make at least half of this race happy, and you'll see that represent itself in the way that we perform our duties as teammates. So I said for this race I really wanted to accomplish something, and I sort of did forget that we had a team, enough people in this race to make a team tactic. So that's fairly new for us. Usually it's just been one other rider and myself for the past couple years, so now we've got a couple more people in our Masters category. That's one of them in front of me here, Andy Webb, on the bright red or bright orange giant bike. So in any event, we have enough teammates to play some games, which is really fun. It changes the dynamic of racing completely. So here is a slow motion. I'm showing the brake just up the road. Maybe I missed it, but you could see him up the road. And so that's what our brake looks. It's probably about 15 seconds is what the brake is up on us at this stage of the race. That section right there, that guy in the house kept running out and offering us brats. I thought that was awesome. He was trying to motivate us to close that gap. So this is my teammate Andy running up the road. Not really sure why he wants to do this little attack. I think he's just having fun, because it would be poor form to attack that breakaway with one of our riders in there. But you'll see us have a little more fun later because we're just messing around. So in any event, our job was to cover moves. So here is Tyson going up the road, and I'm going to cover that move. Derek is going to, behind me there in the rear view camera, is going to jump up onto my wheel as quickly as possible. So he's hoping that he can catch a ride, and I am not hoping that that will happen. So I felt bad for Derek in this race. He's all by himself and was trying really hard to get off the front, but none of us would let him go anywhere. So sorry, Derek. Love you, bro. All right, so Tyson putting in a really solid effort here. Now we're going to pull back a first breakaway rider. And so the field is looking at this situation like, that's interesting. Now, awesome teamwork here. Velocaz rider drops back. Another Velocaz rider takes up the charge because they've realized they do not have someone in the break, and that has completely changed their outlook on today's race. So you're going to see Brian run right up to the front as soon as he recognizes his rider dropping out of the break, and he is off to take the charge, which is great. All right, now we're going to get a second breakaway rider. There were a group of 3, if you recall. We're going to get a second breakaway rider. Robert Berry is going to be dropping back here, which is really kind of crazy. So our group is thinking, oh my gosh, why are these guys coming back? And what we're not seeing is our teammate, John Lester, who's up the road. Now, John is really, really strong. We'll talk about John if I can figure that out, how to squeeze in his talents later. But in any event, Velocaz rider now back up to the front again. Oh my gosh, our solo rider up the road, we should be able to bring back a solo rider, is probably what they're thinking. So this is our rider, again, is up in front of this group all by himself. Does not seem to be too concerned about that. But that was the situation. Then this unfortunate thing happened. Right after he shed those 2 riders, we look up the road. I see our teammate off to the side of the road, and you'll see him here changing a flat off to the right. And our rider, Andy, also on our team, recognizes that and jumps straight away to form another break. Incredibly good move by Andy on that move. Now Robert recognizes this. Robert, again, just came back from that same break, but had the wits about him to jump on that. Now Mike Budd is going to jump off my wheel. I'm letting all this go because we have a teammate up ahead. So again, team tactics, this is what you do as a teammate. So I'm not in anybody's way. I'm not blocking necessarily. I'm just letting that gap open up as much as I can. And Velocause is doing the same thing. You see Velocause behind me. I didn't realize how far back they were, but they're waiting even more because, again, they have a rider in this four-man break now. So, awesome. I drop back, and now we're all going to do this. So here's me having fun. I just go for a goofy attack. This is a few laps later. There's no reason for that. Just wanted to have fun. See if I could make something happen and get out in no man's land. And then Johnny, my other teammate that was in this race here, going up the road, we just traded punches back and forth a couple times. Again, no real tactical reason, just kind of having fun with it. So if he would have got away, sure, that'd be great, but that's not going to happen. So as soon as somebody joined us, if we were on those attacks, we would instantly stop because we're not trying to help someone bridge up to that break by any means. All right, so now we are back toward the end of the race. The four-man breakaway has lapped the field and they've rejoined us. You'll see Robert here in the yellow bike. And so now the tactics are different because we have 4 people racing for first, second, third, and fourth, and we have the rest of us racing for the field. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because you're not ever sure how things should develop in this situation. It just gets a little hairy. So it's hairy for them too, the breakaway riders, because they're spent, but now they have to mix it up with a group that's much fresher than they are. So that's a definite challenge if you are in the breakaway when you rejoin. And when they did rejoin, Robert tried to straight away go right through us, but it didn't work. So they're stuck with us till the end here. All right, so now you're just going to see this big group, and there's no one up the road because the field has been lapped. So there's not much going on in this race other than it's toward the end of the race and people are getting jumpy. So I apologize. I finally did get the overlays. You can see the power numbers are a little bit off. Sorry for that. I had to send my SRM in for service, got it back, blah, blah, blah. I should have left lap time up as a gauge, but I didn't. Sorry for that, but that would really help as I jump ahead. You could follow the lap time to figure that out. So now we're nearing up. This may be the last lap. Let's see if I play the whole thing. I might cut at the end, but this must be the last lap, I'm imagining. So Velocause is gathering up to the front to try to do a lead out for their man. And now that's Mike Budd ahead of me. He was in that break. Robert Berry was in that break. And maybe the Velocause rider was in that break up there. I'm not sure. So those guys are very concerned about getting first, second, third, or fourth in this race. And the rest of us are just trying to have a good day. All right, now we are going to be... yes, this is definitely the final lap. I'm 6 riders back. And I'm thinking... I don't really have much of a plan other than to just go as fast as I can at the end. And then I hear Andy, my teammate, who was in the break, and he says to me, "Go faster." So I go faster, and I give him what I think is a pretty good lead out. Now I'm watching the footage in the rear view. It's not that great of a lead out. But anyway, I close that gap for him. He's able to join me on that little excursion. He's a little bit further back than he would probably prefer. But I gave him a little bit of a draft there, maybe. I'm on Mike's wheel. We're going to be going into the final turn here. This will be the end of the race. And I should have stayed on Mike's wheel a little bit longer, but I didn't. And then I sprint, and I get tired at the end, so I ended up 6 overall. So, again, 4 people in the breakaway. I got beat by 1 rider, and then I guess I was second in the field sprint. So, that's that. That's it. Thanks for watching. If you like what I had to say today, give me that thumbie, give me a like, really give me a subscribe. And if you don't like what I had to say today, bye-bye.